So what would you say was the biggest change, that the sea change? Was it Jeter? Was it George being suspended so Gene Michael could do his work with Bob Watson and stop sending people to Seattle?
By the time I think the sea change was that, Gene Michael. I think George Steinbrenner was smart to give it to Gene, because Gene was selfless. He was going to do things that are only good for the Yankees, not good for him.
Right.
And he held on to these players, and then they matured and they became who they became. And people underplay the fact when George came back, he was willing to spend the money to keep them together. Not many owners could have kept all of them together and then bring in other pieces.
Yes.
And it was just a perfect storm that they went on that roll from, 94. They were in first place at the strike.
Oh, my God, don't remind me.
95.
Buck was the
Buck
manager.
was amazing. Buck was a big part of it.
He sure was.
He doesn't have a ring, but he kind of should.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, and then it went right through, still rolling, really. I mean, they've had very few bad years last year, and they're still over 500.
Right.
So it's been, since 92, I've been broadcasting, and 92 and 93, the only losing seasons I ever broadcasted.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I look at, across town, at Gary Cohen, who's just great at what he does, and what he has to see so often. I mean, they've had runs to the World Series and all.
Yes.
But Gary's, had to broadcast a lot of bad teams.
There's no doubt. That's TJ behind your right shoulder is the resident Met fan of this.
You ain't never lied about that.
Why don't you come over to the dark side?
Yeah. You ever consider that?
I mean,
TJ?
What was it, 96? You guys had Cone and Strawberry and Gooden. So I was low-key rooting for the Yankees back then because you had so many ex-Mets.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, my brother, 2 years older than me, was the Met, Jet, Nick Ranger fan of the household. And I, like a younger brother would, I followed him into this sports world. But when Catfish Hunter arrived in 1976, I realized that I needed to jump off the Met train. And then Reggie showed up, and I've been a Yankee fan ever since.
Wasn't there an opportunity for you to jump off the Jet train, too?
Oh, every year. Every year.
And still?
No, I just jump in front of the train now.
Nice.
That's what I do.
Sweet.
It's never too late.
Man, when I first started at ESPN and the Yankees were going to the World Series, I think that's how we first connected. I think that's where, when I started showing up at Yankee Stadium for ESPN Radio, and that's how we first connected. You were so cool and so kind. You invited me to your famed Christmas parties.
Yes.
Dude, this man had some of the greatest Christmas parties. The Michael K. Christmas party. What did you have, like 250 people in this small?
Come on, it was 300. I lived in a townhouse, and I would have this Christmas party every year, and it was from people from the business and actually, Gene Michael. I mean, people showed up.
Yeah,
and it was a blast.
I just remember being at the first one. I'm like, what the hell is Danny Aiello doing here? And
he was my uncle.
He's your uncle, right?
Yeah, there was a cross-section of people, that's for sure.
Wait a minute. South famous?
This is wife and kids, Michael K., since we're talking about...
Yeah, somebody actually brought it up last night at the ballpark. It used to be a great party. How come you don't have it anymore? I said, it's called marriage. What's the purpose of having it now? You're trying to meet women. That's why you throw parties. I've got a woman now, and I don't,
need to do that.
I don't need to do it.
Exactly. We've checked that whole box in the resume of life.
No more parties.
It was a rager, man. I remember I was shoulder to shoulder with people.
Yeah. Chris Russo showed up. Everybody. It was fun. You're making me nostalgic for it.
This is great. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.